Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This is the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is the canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.
This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir, showing off the enemy's public merchandise that my wife made me for Father's Day. We have the enemy's public shorts with the TEP and the crosshairs. And we also have the enemy's public t-shirt with the TEP with Bro.Nasir, the enemy's public on the sleeve, and we have a YouTube logo on the bottom, letting people know that I'm on YouTube. And if they want to get to my channel, all they have to do is that if they have a scanner on their phone, is come and scan the barcode on their phone, and then you can go directly to my YouTube channel just by scanning the barcode on my t-shirt. That way, instead of people not being able to find my channel, they could find my channel just by scanning the barcode. It's fly. Instead of people trying to find me in the algorithm, they can find me directly just by scanning the barcode. This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace. Peace. This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir. Today, I want to deal with the subject matter of Juneteenth. On June 19th, 1865, this is what history is telling us. On June 19th, 1865, nearly 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln emancipated enslaved Africans in America, Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas, with news of freedom. More than 250,000 of our people embraced freedom by executive decree in what became known as Juneteenth. Now, what Juneteenth could be and what Juneteenth is are two different things. Now, to me, my humble opinion, it has been turned into symbolic gestures of parades with nothing tangible. What I've seen about Juneteenth was a chance for our people to entertain, because our people have always been the entertainment for other people. And we need to start taking things serious. And I don't see what and why we're so celebratory about this so-called holiday. Peace to my good brother, Big Dog Philly OG. Thanks for coming through, good brother. I don't see why people are so celebratory when it comes to this. It's like anything and everything that our open and consistent enemy tell us that we should celebrate, we jump right on it. Now, things haven't even been made right yet as far as the condition of our people and what has happened to our people as far as, reparations, meaning repair the damage that was done, and also the Jim Crow and the acts against our people. We forgive people before they even acknowledge wrongdoing or apologize. And most of all, make things right. You know, accountability and be punished for what has been done to our people. I'm not with the symbolic gestures offered to us by our open and consistent enemy. Now, I went to a Juneteenth celebration last year just to see what it was about. You know, I took my camera, I took footage to see what it was about. And it was a bunch of nonsense. My humble opinion, a bunch of nonsense. And like always, we start giving the indoctrinated history of our people, what we've been taught for years as a child. Some of us at age 50, 60, and 70, having broken away from the indoctrination of what happened. We know something happened based on what's happening, but we've been lied to about everything. You name it, from going to the moon to slavery to emancipation, all the way up to this day, to the medical fields, the education, the religion. We've been lied to. Now, Juneteenth, they want us to be preoccupied with celebrating. And some of us don't even know what we're celebrating, which is just as bad as celebrating Halloween. If you don't know what you're celebrating, you shouldn't be celebrating. And a lot of us make every excuse to play music and shake our ass. We shake our ass. We find the excuse to shake our ass no matter what the situation is or the severity of the situation. You put some music on, our people start shaking our ass. And I don't think with the condition and the climate in this country, we should be preoccupied with celebrating mediocrity. Joe Biden made Juneteenth a national holiday. Peace to my brother, Dangerous Music. Thank you for coming through, good brother. He made it a national holiday. And they do these things as a symbolic gesture. There's nothing tangible about us parading around being celebratory after gaining absolutely no grounds in this country. Celebrating a so-called freedom. It's a so-called freedom. You're free to be dumb and not, thinkers outside of what we were taught in the wilderness of North America. When we have a class of people who think they have risen above the condition of our people, this is what we get. We get the people who stand between us and our enemy, the one who are in what I would call the crossfire, standing between us and our enemy, and telling us that what our enemy offer us is good for us, but it's really to our detriment. You can see that a lot of these Negroes are comfortable. They think they have found a comfortable place in this system that we should be getting out of. And a lot of them think they have risen above the condition of our people. I always say that because it's an actual fact. When some of us get trinkets, some of us are able to live a little more comfortable than the rest of us, we think we have risen above the condition of our people. And we're comfortable in this system. A lot of us get comfortable in this system and get out the fight. We get out the fight for the liberation and salvation of our people, which is our job, to liberate our people and salvage our people and change our condition. Yet it's an insult when we are celebratory for absolutely nothing. We haven't gained any grounds in the United States of America. Any grounds. Now, whenever one of us can be working for FedEx and we go to deliver packages in a certain area of a certain city, and we're chased down, being shot at with our uniform on, driving a company vehicle, there's no reason to be celebratory. And in my city in particular, recently, we have 2 unsolved murders in the city I live in. You know, one of the young men were someone I knew personally. He was one of my drummers, a bright young man, a father, early 20s. He was a party and show promoter. And somebody came to the event and shot the place up. Killed him, killed his friend, shot 8 more people. And that murder hasn't been solved. A few weeks ago, a young man was murdered in my city. We should be getting to the bottom of that. Calming the streets, making it safer for our young people, and ridding ourselves of anything that we don't want in our community. But when things are the same or things are getting worse, there's no grounds for celebration. There's no ground for celebration when our people all over are being victims of violence, whether it's by one of us or someone else. When our condition is the same, when our condition hasn't changed, there's no reason to be celebratory. They tell us that things are better when things are not better. They tell us that we should celebrate. You know, a man like Joe Biden, who signs off on something like that, it's like him telling us, here's your damn reparations. Go out, barbecue, entertain yourselves, parade down the street. and celebrate this symbolic gesture. It's always a symbolic gesture. It's nothing tangible. When we can't put our hands on what people are offering us, it's not tangible. We have to be able to put our hands on it and hold it as something valuable. And I don't see celebrating a token freedom, a symbolic freedom. We can't even travel without being pulled over, without our travels being impeded by people who are supposed to be enforcing the law. Peace to my brother Brown's Flat Power God. Salute to you, brother. That's not a freedom. Everything we get is symbolic, and we buy it hook, line, and sinker. Now, I'm going to play this video of Henry Louis Gates explaining what this so-called celebration of freedom is. First, I'm going to play this first. A lot of our people love an excuse.
Well, last year, President Biden made Juneteenth the newest federal holiday. June 19th marks the date in 1865 when the last enslaved people in America found out that they were free. CBS News special correspondent James Brown spoke with renowned Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. about the history and the significance of Juneteenth.
Before I play this video, Henry Louis Gates is the professor that the police snatched up and charged him with breaking in his own house in Stamford, Connecticut. The Harvard professor, they charged him with breaking into his own home, and Barack Obama, he called them stupid and then apologized to them for calling them stupid. They were stupid, but he apologized for calling them stupid and had beers with them.
Juneteenth was not embraced as a national Black holiday for a long, long time, but it was kept alive by Black people in Texas. And that's what's so sweet about it. Our people have been hungry for holidays, hungry for tradition, hungry for stories about Black history.
Because
without a past.
Good question. Because hungry for a holiday, hungry to march around in the streets, hungry to be celebratory for absolutely nothing.
You have no future. Did you like Harvard?
perhaps no one has done more to inform Americans of their past and in turn their future than Henry Louis Gates Jr. By day, he is.
I don't know if that's a fitted or it's a snapback, but it's damn sure a cap.
A professor and director of the Hutchins Center for African and African American Research at Harvard.
I'm Henry Louis Gates Jr. Welcome to Finding Your Roots.
By night, he is the host and producer of the PBS genealogy show, Finding Your Roots, as well as countless documentaries on Black history.
These are the big three in the history.
He's one of those who Ask the brother Big Dog Philly OG, have you spit in a cup and they send it out to 23andMe and you find out that you're Irish, Jamaican, and damn Russian.
Of freedom of our enslaved ancestors. The Emancipation Proclamation, signed on January 1st, 1863, Juneteenth, June 19th, 1865, and then finally the ratification of the 13th Amendment on December 6, 1865, which is what finally and ultimately abolished the institution of slavery.
Why do you think that June 19th stuck?
One of the reasons that I think Juneteenth stuck is that we're all charmed by the poetic brilliance of the name, Juneteenth. What better name for a June 19th could there possibly be? That's great. It's fetching. You know, it's catchy.
As with all catchy names, Gates says there is also a bit of fiction around that day in 1865 when Gordon Granger issued General Order Number 3 to free the enslaved black people of Galveston, Texas, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Well, we were raised to think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, right? The problem is that the Emancipation Proclamation in and of itself didn't have the power to free anybody. It only applied to enslaved people in the Confederacy, and it can only be enforced if...
First, to emancipate someone doesn't mean to free them from anything. To emancipate someone means that you're not going to take care of them. That's what it means. Because when a child is emancipated from his parents, that means the child is not under the tutelage and care of the parent any longer.
If Union troops had captured territory in the South, in the Confederacy, only about 500,000 enslaved men and women, we think, actually got their freedom from the Emancipation Proclamation. And James, there were 3.9 million enslaved African Americans. So the overwhelming majority of our ancestors were not freed by the Emancipation Proclamation.
So the significance then of General Gordon Granger going to Galveston?
We all think that the Civil War ended when Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox, which was April 9th, 1865. But that's not true. There were several different Confederate armies. So Texas finally surrenders to the Union on June 2nd. Gordon Granger comes, and on June 19th in Galveston, he issues the Emancipation Proclamation because now the Union Army is in possession of the territory. So that's the true story.
And what about the notion that enslaved black people in Texas did not know they were free?
One of the myths about Juneteenth is that nobody in Texas had heard about it. But there are two reasons that many historians think that black people knew about the Emancipation Proclamation too. One is because of the proverbial grapevine. So there was this miraculous way for enslaved people to communicate plantation to plantation and state to state. But the second...
Enough of him. Go on to the next video of them trying to explain to us what is Juneteenth. Just like the other so-called holidays, we parade ourselves around celebrating for nothing. Didn't gain any grounds, but we're very celebratory.
Last year, President Biden made Juneteenth the newest federal holiday. June 19th marks...
Not what I want to play. I don't know why it went back to that video. This is the video that I wanted to play.
What is Juneteenth? Juneteenth is an annual celebration on June 19th that commemorates and celebrates the end of slavery in the United States. Now, although President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation freeing slaves in January of 1863, it wasn't until June 19th of 1865, 2 years later, that Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, with the news that the war had ended and that the enslaved were free. After this, over 250,000 slaves across Texas learned that they were finally free.
We celebrate Juneteenth really as a kind of symbol of the end of Black bondage in the United States. It's not the date in which everyone found out that they were free or were able to claim their freedom, but it is a great symbolic date.
That's a big fact, OG. They'd rather give us fictitious holidays and symbolic gestures than to give us what's owed to us, because they don't want to give us what's owed to us, because 9 times out of 10 with some of our mindsets, with most of our mindset, it will empower us.
Date of the end of slavery in the United States. And that's one of the reasons why, as we are people who continue to fight for equality and social justice in the nation and in the world, that is why it is such an important date. Juneteenth symbolizes today, I think, the promise that African Americans will be equal citizens within the United States. This came as the result of a very long and bloody war, and it also came as...
First, we shouldn't be fighting for equality because these people are no one to be equal to. So our people, we fall for these trick bags and trick words, to be equal to, to other people. Just leave us alone and don't hinder us in our endeavors, in our efforts. Just leave us alone, because in all actuality, there are no one to be equal to.
As the result of many, many, many Black and allied people who sacrificed their lives for this freedom.
Dr. Stevenson says early celebrations included prayer, music, dance, and readings of the Emancipation Proclamation.
All entertainment. All of it's entertainment. She didn't name anything of seriousness. All entertainment. Entertainment intertwined with indoctrination.
Today, she says there's usually good food, family gatherings, and parades.
So I think it's very important for everyone who is a citizen or who wants to know about the United States to know about the freedom struggle of African Americans and what has been done to enhance that struggle, what has been done to thwart it, because it really is, as I say, part of U.S. history. It's not just African American history.
Go to the next video. I just want to give context to what I'm trying to tell the people. Peace to the brother Blue.
Well, across the country, businesses are taking a stand, marking Juneteenth as a recognized paid holiday for its employees. There's even a push to make Juneteenth a U.S. federal holiday. By now, thousands of Texans didn't.
See, our enemy will give us a so-called federal holiday. They will make it a federal holiday. But guess what? Their ass would be home celebrating, just being off, while we parade around and entertain ourselves and commemorate whatever we're commemorating. We need to get out of accepting anything that our enemy offer us, except what we tell them that they owe us. They'll give us anything besides what we tell them they owe us. We need to stop falling for the symbolic gestures and the trick bags and the so-called holidays.
Didn't learn they were free until 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. But what about some of the lesser known ideas surrounding Juneteenth? Well, I spoke with one of the leading historians of our time and the chair of the Afro-American Studies Department at Howard University. He explains what the holiday means for our country. From slavery to the civil rights movement.
That's what we do. We will lift every voice and sing. That's what we do. Instead of adding some seriousness to our lives, we have always been the entertainment. We are very entertaining when, even when we're doing harm to each other, it's entertaining to our open and consistent enemy. And we must know that. We must recognize that. And we must get away from that.
Negroes want the same things that white citizens possess.
And even now,
Black folks in this country have always
fought. Philip Randolph,
we've been the victims.
Super Negro.
Juneteenth, the name derived from the 19th day of June in 1865. It was the day many slaves finally learned they were free in Texas. It has just as much meaning now as it did 155 years ago.
And it has particular pride of place in Black America and increasingly America, because it marks the African form of resistance and celebration of the victories won in that struggle.
But if you truly want to know why there's so much pride in celebrating Juneteenth, you also have to understand what the holiday does not represent.
Well, Juneteenth is part of a broad field.
It does not represent a free-thinking people who really want a total, complete freedom, which great responsibility comes with it. If you are trying to be in this system, you are trying to find a comfortable place in this system. You don't want a complete freedom. You just want to fit in.
Field of emancipation, freedom, liberation, celebrations in the Western Hemisphere.
This is the same man that be on Roland Martin's channel. See all that he had behind him, all those books. He read a lot of books. If you read all those books, he's like super duper quadruple indoctrinated.
Juneteenth, people might think of it initially as a kind of Black July 4th. It is not.
Dr. Greg Carr, a well-known historian at Howard University, clearing the air about what he believes it has meant historically to celebrate the holiday in America.
Ironically, during enslavement, those people of African descent who were in the abolitionist movement often marked July the 5th as a direct rejection of the idea that July 4th Black people should be celebrating. I think Juneteenth becomes an opportunity to learn about a group that forms the backbone of the American experiment.
From family reunions to collegiate homecoming celebrations, he says many of those traditions are connected to the Juneteenth holiday.
Every June 19th, people would return, whether it be Texas or Oklahoma or Mississippi, Alabama, they would return to the ancestral home. This has the really outsized impact of shaping what people in this country know as homecoming.
Dallas even has its own unique connection to Juneteenth celebrations. According to Carr, well-known civil rights activist Antonio Maceo Smith wanted to have a celebration of Black life in Dallas. He was instrumental in creating the Hall of Negro Life at Fair Park. And it's no coincidence the exhibit made its official debut on June 19, 1936. That same land is currently where the African American Museum of Dallas is located.
And this Smith said, you must know Juneteenth, not just as Black people, but everybody in this community, because we're not going away. We will have our rights, and you will understand that that's going to help.
What rights is this man talking about? You have the right to parade around the city. You have a right to perform. You have the right to barbecue. It's just the 4th of July early with no fireworks. Besides when Negroes act a damn fool towards each other.
Help you too.
You notice that they showed Juneteenth and they were showing posters of George Floyd, police, and then rest in peace and justice for this person and justice for that person. That alone lets you know that not a damn thing changed. But we are very celebratory for absolutely nothing.
There are a number of events and celebrations planned for today across North Texas in honor of Juneteenth. We have an article posted on our website, WFAA.com. And as we head to break, guys, I want to leave you with a powerful quote.
Later with your quote. As a matter of fact, we don't want to hear your quote. You have to stop quoting and have and do some action. And we're going to go over the history, what we need to know, the Juneteenth, what they said we need to know about this.
My name is Marcia Chatwin. I'm a professor of history and African American studies at Georgetown University. I'm a historian of African American life and culture. Juneteenth is a commemoration holiday of June 19th, 1865.
She's a historian. That means she studied his story, not ours.
When a group of African Americans in Galveston, Texas, received the news that they indeed were free. President Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, but news of the end of slavery in Texas had not traveled to this community until 1865. Since then, Juneteenth has been a day of commemoration of the struggle against slavery and a celebration of freedom. One of the biggest misconceptions about Juneteenth is that people often think that was the day that slavery ended in the United States. But in fact, the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in the United States, was passed in the Senate on April 8, 1864, and the House on January 31st, 1865. Although Juneteenth celebrates the knowledge that slavery had ended, it's important to remember that the conditions that mirrored slavery, whether it was Jim Crow or the suppression of civil rights or continued struggles to fight racism, those continued long after the end of slavery. And so
very long after the so-called end of slavery, because we're fighting that same fight today. And so many wars on different fronts, medically, educationally, religiously, we're fighting those same wars to this very moment. Again, war doesn't only mean violence. We're at war, and war has been waged on us in all fronts. Even when we have people who's supposed to represent us misinforming us and indoctrinating us, that's a war strategy also. We must understand that.
Juneteenth holiday reminds us of where we've come, and it also inspires us to think about the places we want to go. As African Americans left the South to pursue opportunities throughout the 20th century in northern and western cities, the celebration of Juneteenth moved from being a Texas-based celebration to a national one, in which people gathered with families and friends and community to remember the incredible struggle of a people against slavery and to create new traditions that allowed them to reflect about the struggle for civil rights and the ongoing struggle against racism. Although slavery was abolished in 1865, the fight for civil rights has continued to the present day. So Juneteenth provides people with a sense of encouragement and inspiration to continue to fight on behalf of their community and their families for freedom. And it also is a holiday that, as it continues to become more and more popular, it allows
more and more popular, meaning more and more commercialized. Walmart, Target, all these stores, they had, Juneteenth paper towels, Juneteenth confetti, Juneteenth ice cream, Juneteenth everything. Everybody benefits. They're benefited from that, but we're not benefited from it. We're getting something tangible, but people are coming up and people are becoming rich because we'll go in and buy that foolishness, buy those trinkets, and put money in their pocket, thinking that we're celebrating something that's tangible to us, but it's nothing but a symbolic gesture. Going to keep saying that till it sinks in.
Allows people to look back at the past and encourages them to learn more about African American history. As more and more institutions recognize Juneteenth, and
even to the point of, crowning a Miss Juneteenth, the mockery of it all. Always entertaining, brothers and sisters.
Work to commemorate the incredible legacy of slavery in the United States, I hope Juneteenth becomes a day where people commit not only to acts of justice in their local community, but to investigate history in a more deep and thoughtful way.
Crazy. But I'm hopeful that one day that our people will get out of that foolishness. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, family, of what happened in my city with the young man who was a drummer on my drum squad. This is the shooting. This is what happened. Once the video was pulled up, once I find it. Where's that video at? And our people want to celebrate in my city when we have this foolishness going on. We don't need to celebrate until everything is correct in our city. I'm not trying to do that. That's not what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what happened in my city. Why they're not playing? They refuse to play this video. What happened in my city with a young brother. You can see that they just ran out and just started going crazy, indiscriminately. Got in the vehicle and just drove off. And we want to celebrate. we should be dealing and stopping this foolishness, this madness in our city. To those who live in my city, and that's crazy. I'm not feeling very celebratory until the condition of our people change. That's when I feel celebratory. That's when I will feel the need to celebrate. Not some gesture, some symbolic gesture giving us a reason to celebrate and cook out. Is no different from Labor Day. It's no different from 4th of July, all these other celebrations that we shouldn't be indulging in. See, it's always a trick bag. It is always undermining when it comes to us. So therefore, we have to come together and decide what we should celebrate and when we should celebrate. You should never allow your enemy to do that for you. And you should never accept anything from your open and consistent enemy. Always turn it down. Always turn it down. According to history, General Amherst offered Indians blankets. But guess what was in the blankets? Smallpox. So we need to not accept anything that our enemy offer us. Turn it down every time, because they're not going to offer you anything that's good for you, especially before they offer it to themselves. So Juneteenth is not something that our people should be celebrating. This is your brother Nasir. This is the Enemy's Public. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace. This is the Enemy's Public. I am Brother Nasir, showing off the Enemy's Public merchandise that my wife made me for Father's Day. We are the Enemy's Public shorts with the TEP and the crosshairs. And we also have the Enemy's Public t-shirt with the TEP with Brother Nasir, the Enemy's Public on the sleeve, and we have a YouTube logo on the bottom, letting people know that I'm on YouTube. And if they want to get to my channel, all they have to do is that if they have a scanner on their phone, is come and scan the barcode on their phone, and then you can go directly to my YouTube channel just by scanning the barcode on my t-shirt. That way, instead of people not being able to find my channel, they could find my channel just by scanning the barcode. It's fly. Instead of people trying to find me in the algorithm, they can find me directly just by scanning the barcode. This is the Enemy's Public. I am Brother Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace. Before I go, I want to show footage of the so-called Juneteenth celebration held in my city. And we have a keynote speaker that's not one of us. In a celebration, it's supposed to be all about us.
Is inferior or unequal to another. So let the errors of the past serve as timeless reminders of the work that has been completed and the work that has yet to be done. Let New Brunswick continue to be a place that helps to create a world where peace, love, joy, equality, harmony, and freedom are celebrated and cherished for all future generations. My thanks to the Vulcan pioneers of the NBFD for their years of hosting the Juneteenth celebration and raising awareness of Black history and resilience in America. And to all of you for your efforts in helping to work towards a better tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. God bless.
Yes.
I have one thing to say about this whole entire thing, and I'll just show you how I feel about it. This is the Enemy's Public. Now, Brother Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.
Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This is the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is a canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.